Amazing. This is why I want to encourage you to get on the straight and narrow path and stay there. No matter what happened along the road, it doesn't matter how many bumps you run into, no matter if the whole world desert you. You got to get on the straight and narrow path, because I counsel with a lot of people around the world. And not bragging, but I'm learning from it too. And I noticed that everybody in the whole world have the same problem. The same cause and the same effect. Now you may have taken on different actions, but it's the same problem. It's the same thing, the same complaints about it, the same fears, the same doubts. It's like everybody went to the same school. And I realized that we are born into hell. When the Bible said we were born of sin, the Bible wasn't playing about that. Whoever said it, right? We were literally born into a fallen state. And in that fallen state, we are in the wilderness and don't know it. And we have identified with the wilderness as though it's us. We have literally identified with the fallen state as though it's us. And we believe it. And until you wake up, you find yourself protecting it, defending it. And if anybody challenges you on your fallen state, you want to knock them out. Because you own this. You don't want anybody to take that away from you. We're really in a fallen state and we own it. And the whole world is in a fallen state, except for the few who have returned to love. Because if you don't have love, you're never going to get out the fallen state. If you're not born of the Father, if you're not born of love, there's no way out. Because it's love that causes you to overcome that state that you're in, which is called sin or whatever name you want to give it. But you're really in a fallen state and you identify with it. You love it. You feel it. You give pain to others so you can have pain. When those people were crying over those children, it was all lies. It was all ego, all lies. Not one cared about those children. How do you cry over kids getting shot and right at the end of your tear, you want to ban guns? It's like, it's not the gun fault at all. If you weren't in a fallen state, you would know it's the devil. And why is the devil so busy? Because something else has happened. Number one, the men have been destroyed. The sons of God is under attack. Like, it's the worst thing I've ever seen. And it's because the darkness hate the light, and men represent the light. And so you got to understand that the only way to overcome and have true courage, you must die from this false identity. Completely die. And when he said all in, you got to be all in for that to happen. Because you so identify with the thoughts and the feelings and so believe that it's you, it's hard to let that go. You so identify with it. You're up and down emotionally. You have fear, you have worry, you're lonely, you're depressed, you're sad, you're this and you're that. The only reason you're going through that is because you have identified with it as though it's you. And I notice what the world does, it gives you names to evil so you can claim it as your own. I'm an alcoholic, I'm a drug addict, I'm this. You're claiming that, and when you claim it, you believe in it. And once you believe it, you become that. But in reality, that's not who you are at all, not one iota. The real you are none of those things, none of the vices, none of those things. But the world, being of the devil, is making you stay there by giving it worldly names. But if you get on that straight and narrow path, you're going to see that it's a state that you're in, the state of mind, the state of being. It's darkness. It's of the devil. It's not you. Because if you notice in that state, you can't help what you do. You do things you don't want to do. Because you're in a fallen state, but you identify with it as you. The real you up here is free. The you here is enslaved, but you're enslaved to your thoughts. You're enslaved to the imagination. And so true courage is the ability. Oh, let me just say this. I talked to a young lady once, and she had an argument at work or something with the boss or something like that, right? And she was real nervous, real scared. So she said, I'm going home, blah, blah, blah. And I knew that she was running away from, she was running because she had believed in the not her. I'm like, that's not you. That's the fear you feel right now, the worry you feel, what's going to happen. That's not you. You got to face that. Let that happen. And then when she really thought about it, she's like, oh yeah. And right away she calmed down and she was ready to go back and face the situation because she realized she was in her head and it wasn't her. But she believed it. When it was happening, Satan got busy and she believed it. And you believe the thoughts and it brings all kinds of fears, all types of emotions and stuff like that. And then you identify with the emotions thinking that is you. It's in the mind, it's in the body, it feels like you. But that's the thing that Paul and others talked about that made a home in you. It's not you. It's not you. And so if you ever stop identifying with it, you'll get past it. It would die. It has to die, right? Because it's the darkness, it's the nature of the devil that made a home in you to make you do what you think, what you don't want to do. Nobody don't want to be afraid they have to leave work because some other crazy person acting crazy, right? But if you believe a lie, you're going to run. You're going to be crying. You're going to be carrying on. All thoughts are all lies all the time about anything. I don't care what happened 50 years ago. If you didn't think on it, it wouldn't exist anymore. You bring it, the devil bring it out of the darkness and make you think it's your thought. And you'll feel the pain like it happened right now. You know what I'm saying? Have you noticed that? This is why you got to pay attention to yourself. You got to pay attention to the not you and have no idea what the real you are. Don't let Satan give you an impression of that, who you really are. You will know. You want to know the not you. And you're none of these things, none of these thoughts, none of these feelings, none of these things. So a real courage take allowing that to be destroyed. And the way you allow it to be destroyed, you got to go all into the situation. Like when I was talking to a young lady, I'm like, it's not you. And someone mentioned it here too, let the situation happen and watch the not you go through the fear of it, the doubt of it, not knowing the outcome, the worry. You feel like you want to cry, you want to run. You got to let that happen to you so you can see it, and you will see it. The light will show it to you, and the light will destroy it. But if you protect the not you, the nature of the devil, because that's what it is, that thing made a home in you, it's the nature of the devil. And if you protect that, you're going to die with that, and you don't want to drop your body with that, because you're going to drop right into hell and you're stuck forever. That is not you. All thoughts about it are lies. You're not having those thoughts. You're not making up those thoughts. It's not you, but you identify with the thoughts. So is a man thinking, so as he is. It's not you. So when people talk about you, someone don't want to play with you, someone treats you bad, and Satan says, oh, everybody's talking about me. Nobody want to play with me. That's Satan telling you that. You don't care about it. Be glad to see that. If people have no love, why you want to hang around with the devil anyway? The devil loves the devil. The devil hates the light. And so be glad to see that. You haven't lost anything but the devil. And so the courage is to allow these things to happen without defending them. You don't owe anyone an explanation. The only person you owe an apology is a person that you offend. Oh, I'm sorry I offended you. I was wrong. Other than that, you don't owe the world an explanation. The world is of the devil. You don't owe, and God is not, just think about this. God is not holding one thing against you at all. He's not judging you. He's not making you afraid. He's not making you feel good. He's not making you feel bad. He's not doing anything but loving you the way we should love one another once we were born of love. Salvation is about love. And then the love, which is the light of God, destroy the darkness. Because we can't do it. You can't get rid of your darkness on your own. And so when you name it, when you claim it, oh, I feel so bad. I feel so afraid. I feel so lonely. I feel so guilty. I hear that a lot from people. I feel so whatever, right? Fat, whatever you feel. You identify with the devil calling something be not as though it's true. It's not I. Don't ever say I anymore. And then you will get to the place where you have to use the word I, but it won't be the same way. It won't be the same identity, I. But when you're saying these things, you're becoming that even more so because you're fellowshipping with the devil. And the devil is never going to depart from you. The only way the devil will depart from you is when you stop worshiping him. When you no longer give into that, no longer identify with that. Then he'll depart from you and go get in somebody else and worship with them. He will leave you. But you got to stay there, shaking your boots, whatever it takes. Oh, that's what I'm. And I remember when I first went and forgave my mother, it was like going to face Hitler. Anybody else face Hitler? It was scary, right? And that's the beginning of courage. Because you're now saying to her and your father, I love you, I'm sorry for resenting you. And now I have real love because I see I can't help myself. I realize you can't help yourself. That's the first step for courage. Because now you're seeing yourself, you're going and forgiving, but it starts with you first. You're admitting you're wrong. Somebody mentioned that too. You're saying, hey, I got this hatred, and I'm wrong for hating anyone. I'm wrong for getting angry. Anyone that gets angry don't have courage. That's a false sense of self-defense. But it's really worshiping the devil. Because if you truly love your neighbor, love God with all your heart, soul, and might, along with nothing else, and love your neighbor as yourself, you're never going to judge your neighbor. And as a result, you will never be judged. You will never feel that within yourself. But you do to others what you're doing to yourself. You hate yourself, you hate everybody. You overreact to yourself, to the devil in you, you're overreacting to everything. You are not those things. And so you're in a state, in this lower state. But if you stay on the straight and narrow, do the prayer and watch, without any opinion, you're neither good or bad, you're neither evil, you're neither right or wrong. You're none of those things. But it's false you have you thinking that, because no one told you this growing up. So you think you are that, and you're not. Really. That's why God said, bring all thoughts into captivity. All thoughts. God's voice is a voiceless voice. He revealed to his children. And the devil talked to his children in their language. It could be Chinese, it could be Spanish, sí, señor. It could be whatever it is, right? He talked in that language to you. Everybody hear the same voice, and everybody react the same way. Even the people who fake strength inside is catching hell. They just want to impress you because of the ego thing, but within themselves they're catching hell. And so I highly, highly recommend, do what you want, have that downtime. Go home and just sit there and do nothing for a while and watch the ego go nuts. The devil started telling you, oh, you need to call Mary Ann. You don't even like Mary Ann. You need to call to make sure this or that. Or you need to go and do this. Or he does not want you to sit still so he could be revealed to you so that you may see that that's not you. But you've been reacting to it. You've been protecting it. You've been running it from it, covering it up. And that's what the devil wants. He doesn't want to be in the light. So you got to sit still. And after a while, it'll be so easy to do, it wouldn't even be a problem. As a matter of fact, you love sitting still and watch that old devil go at it. Because he'll get busy once you have nothing to do. He really will. And you'll see, wow, look at this thing inside of me. What the? And it'll say things to you that's so crazy you wouldn't even think of. It'll bring up ideas that you wouldn't even imagine. Like go shoot up a school. You know what I mean? Or go and I remember I used to call people that I didn't even like. And I would call, even in my family, I would call them up. And after I was done, I'm like, I didn't even want to talk to them. What did I call them for? But the devil told me to call. He put that idea in my mind. Because I couldn't see that was him at the time. I thought it was me. It's not you. And so God knows that it's not you. He knows. Why do you think he still worked with Paul? Paul admitted, you know what, I can't do what I want to do. I can't do the right thing. And yet God used him greatly because God understood it wasn't him. He still used him mightily. And likewise, he'll do the same with you. People judge your vices. God judges the heart. He judges the heart. And once you really grow in it, you would never judge your fellow man. You would never hold anything against them. And you would thank God that he went amongst the world. Christ went amongst the people and shined light on the darkness. He didn't judge the people. He knew they couldn't see. And you got to get to be the same way. So in your marriages, your friendships, your workships, or whatever ship you're in, you're not going to judge your fellow man because you won't be judging you. You can see what's going on with you, and that will cause you to see and understand others, and you will never be offended. Never be. And you never take offense. That's how much God loves us. He's different from the devil, but you got to rise in consciousness so you can see the devil in the lower. You're either in a higher state of being or lower, and only you ought to be in the higher that you have to let God separate you from the darkness. Don't protect the ego anymore. It's not you. Don't claim it. It's not you. I am so worried. I'm so scared. I'm so this. No, it is. It's not you. It's scared. Like you were saying, you forgave your parents, but you're not sure. That's the devil telling you that. That's not you. You know what I mean? You have forgiven, but if you believe the lie, it'll have you going back telling your parents 8 times, I'm sorry, and they'll think you're crazy. You don't need to forgive but one time. Once you see that you do have it, you go and say, hey, I'm sorry for resenting. You're done with that. Move on. But the devil have you going back again and again because you believe the lie. All thoughts, all voices in the head are lies. All of them. That makes sense a little bit? I'm Jesse Peterson. You can get involved by going to our chat line on YouTube, all right? And Hake will let me know, and I can respond to your questions and comments. Thank you for your support.